What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, with a lot of the old games I have been going back and revisiting, I do tend to do something along the lines of what made this game special. Now, I wasn't actually going to do this video with Dirt 3, but I was like, you know what? No. I kind of need to. This game really is going to be another great game in the entire Dirt series, and with me never actually getting to play this game back in the day fully, and going back in and playing Dirt 3, I feel like this game really had a lot of great points to it. One of them, which is going to be the Gymkhana events, guys. I really found these to be really entertaining. Some of them were going to be different, like some of them were timed and stuff, or you had to like drift around certain objects, you had to grab different things and stuff like that, and then you also had to like drift around a certain area, like going under a trailer or something like that. Some of them were going to be really fun on top of it because you even had to be in like a small arena, get like a certain amount of points. You had to hit like the little Gymkhana block things and then drift around a thing and then do little things like that. And I found this to be really cool because it was going to be a different part of Dirt 3 that the other Dirt games did not have, at least, Dirt 1 and 2. So I did find this to be pretty dope. Now, back in the day, I never actually got to do these events. So when I first did end up encountering them, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty fun, man. Don't get me wrong, in the beginning, I was kind of failing in doing these events, guys. I'm not going to lie. I was having issues drifting. I was kind of getting used to the handling of the game and stuff. I kind of did end up getting the hang of it. I was kind of going around the arenas more, realizing like a different route I could do to get more points and stuff like that, and then doing like the donut thing. So it really was going to be a pretty fun experience that I feel like Dirt did a really good job at. And again, I kind of feel like they were aiming at this in the fact of, yo, okay, let's do something different here, right? We are probably going to have a brand new game. This is not Dirt 2. No, this is Dirt 3. So let's add a new game mode into it, a new game type, which is probably something that is going to be good in a racing game. Now, the other part of Dirt 3 I did find to be really fun, or at least a special part of it, is probably going to come down to the rally side of it. Now, the reason why I do say this is we all do know that Dirt 3 even said on the back of the case that it was more focused on rally or had more rally events compared to every other Dirt game. I gotta admit, guys, I was kind of a bit iffy on this because one of my favorite things about Dirt 1 and 2 wasn't going to be fully focused on rally, right? Especially Dirt 2. And that game was going to focus on more than just rally. Like, it had a really fun buggy part of it, even the trophy trucks, and there was different trophy trucks and buggies, and we also had like the Trailblazer, which is also going to be in Dirt 3, so I was really happy to see that. I will talk more about this stuff a little bit when I do talk about how Dirt 3 was a good Dirt game and stuff like that, or a lot of people might be wondering is if it was going to be a good Dirt game. But for me, though, playing this, guys, now this is also coming from someone who was playing a lot of Dirt 4, so I was playing a good amount of that. I kind of went back into it, then went back into Dirt 3, and I gotta admit, I do appreciate the overall rally aspect they were going for with it. We all probably do know at this point that they were most likely aiming for something a bit different, maybe focusing on rally, because maybe a lot more players probably wanted that in there. I mean, that would probably be my guess with it. A lot of people might have liked the trophy trucks or different classes, but a lot of people are going to be a huge fan of overall rally racing, like Rally 2.0 and stuff, so I would probably say a lot of people are going to be a fan of that specifically, which is probably why they focused on it. One of the other game modes I also really enjoyed, which you guys will see me in the background completely failing at driving. I did actually have to go and use like one of the rewind things because I kind of flipped over, but it was going to be like the dual type of race similar to Dirt 1, to where it's going to be like two tracks but one. You are going to be 1v1ing someone. Each track is going to be a bit different. This was also going to be a pretty cool thing that did make Dirt 3 unique because I felt like they built upon it. They also have these crazy snow tracks and all that with the insane snow coming down. I found this to be really good looking. And I gotta admit, for being a game from 2011, the graphics really do hold up very well in this. In fact, in some ways, I was like, man, this game looks better than some of the new games we have, right? Some of the newer games are probably going to fall in different areas and they might have better graphics in some places, but we can all admit, guys, Dirt 3 was a great looking game, and I was noticing people talking about it, saying that Dirt 3 was pretty much going to be their favorite game in the franchise. So after going through this game and playing through it again and trying to get more back into rally and stuff, because again, I was always like into Land Rush, or even using something like, I guess you could say Trailblazer was another favorite class of mine. But when I was going back into Dirt 3, I also really enjoyed Rallycross, which back in Dirt 2, I was also really liking Rallycross as well. I was a fan of Rally, but to be honest, I just didn't play it as much, or, did that said class as much. And I feel like I'm finding myself doing more of that more in Dirt 3 than I did before. And that's probably going to come down to the fact of the tracks being really fun, or the Rallycross, and again, Rally being a big part of it. And this this is something a lot of players probably do love. It kind of is insane to me, guys, how people actually race at speeds like this. Like, for example, in Rallycross, they're going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour around these tiny courses, basically neck and neck to each other, sometimes smashing into each other's vehicles or, messing up in one corner, maybe drifting around another one and then flying around the other person. It really is insane to think about that people are not only doing Rallycross, but they are also flying down a forest doing 100 miles an hour with trees everywhere. And if you obviously mess up, I don't know what's going to happen at that point. Now, as I did mention earlier, though, there is also going to be the Trailblazer class, which I gotta admit is still going to be super fun in Dirt 3. The cars in this are going to be insanely fast, doing well over 100 miles an hour. In fact, you are also going to see me in the background running something like the Suzuki, which I did not even know this car was in the game. In fact, I looked at it, did not even realize it was a Suzuki. Then I was like, oh, wait a second, there was a Suzuki back in Dirt 1, so that kind of made a lot of sense. And that was something I really did like about this, though, because I just finished playing through Dirt 1, now I'm going to be in Dirt 3, and I'm like, yo, I recognize some of these cars. I'm going to notice the Suzuki from that game. Also, on top of that, guys, we're even going to have the lovely Tacoma. I could not believe that, or I guess you could say the Tundra Tacoma. Either way, this thing is going to be a big Toyota race car that was a hill climb vehicle in Dirt 1, and it's also going to be in Dirt 3. So I thought that was pretty dope. Like, they are going to be carrying on in the series, bringing vehicles back from the old games and stuff like that. And I do know a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's the thing, Block. Like, we're not going to have any buggies or trophy trucks and stuff. But at least they did end up bringing back some of the other beloved vehicles from the other games, which I gotta give credit where it is due. I personally had a great time racing these and kind of flying through each track and, trying out different cars and stuff like that. So for me, that really made the entire Dirt 3 experience special because it immediately brought me back to how special Dirt 1 was. One thing I also laughed about is on certain tracks, you are going to see people run across the road and stuff like that. Going to be a small piece of detail because I would almost guarantee that in real rally racing, you're probably going to see things like that. One of the other insane parts is, though, we're also then going to have the different night times and snow and stuff like that. And honestly, guys, I really cannot believe how great nighttime looked in this game. I do understand that's not going to be a big staple or like it's not going to be the most impressive thing because a lot of racing games obviously have nighttime. Some racing games are only at nighttime, so I get it. But I really did like the way Dirt 3 had with the vibing going on in nighttime. It kind of brought me back to Dirt 4 in a way because I love the vibe of that game when racing at nighttime, flying through the forest and you basically can barely see anything. Really adds on to the overall experience of it. On top of that, in Dirt 3, we're also going to have the crazy looking snow and stuff like that, which honestly, they really did nail it. You're going to have rally racing in snow, you're going to have rally cross, you're also going to have buggy races and trophy trucks all being in the snow. And you guys will see me in the background right now driving a Lancia in cockpit view, and it's just crazy how good this actually looks. I love watching the snow come down and stuff, and you're going to be flying down these tracks around 60. I'm also curious, what do y'all think about the sense of speed in Dirt 3? Which game do you guys think did it the best? For me, I'm not really sure. I feel like each game was fairly decent, but I kind of think Dirt 1 and 2 were a little bit better. Dirt 3 was definitely close, and I would say it's kind of going to be an interesting toss-up, but do let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I would say seeing the snow in this game was definitely going to be a pretty dope change, and honestly, from playing Dirt 1 and 2, I could kind of see them doing something like this, and it really was going to make sense. And in fact, it looks really great, and you can also throw in different things and have different classes in there in the snow, so it's going to add on to the overall experience, which I would say a lot of players are going to love. Overall, though, I'm not going to lie, I could probably keep yapping about this for a long time, but I am really curious to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What do you guys think made Dirt 3 so special? I gotta admit, going back in and playing this game, I think I'm almost completed with going through most of the events in it, which I will probably end up finishing it here soon. I really did find this to be a really fun Dirt game, and you know what? It's still going to be just as special as Dirt 1 and Dirt 2. I'm actually going to be planning on doing an entire Dirt series where I go over the best game out of all of them. Do stay tuned for that. I'm also going to go over Dirt 1 through 3 and stuff, so stay tuned for that video. I've been having a great time going back in and playing this series, guys, and it really does blow my mind how great these games still look and also how good they also hold up. One last thing I want to mention, stay tuned for that one video as well, which is probably going to be after this one before the other videos where I do talk about the series, but that one is going to be, is Dirt 3 going to be a good Dirt game? Stay tuned for that one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.